Hello, hello. Welcome to episode 80 of the Lorethrough. Today we are in the Shaded Castle and we're going to have a look around and see what we can figure out about this place. To recap a few details from last time. Oh look, we have a depraved perfumer. Gonna show him off. He's got his gross purple skin, bottles in hand, Erd steel knife still. Has he seen us? Is he blind? I think he's seen us. Oh. Maybe it counts as nighttime and so his vision's bad. That's funny. Well, we'll give him a pot. But yeah, throwing out all sorts of perfumes. Anyway, I was recapping what happened last time. We met Male Marias, and we slaughtered him out in the stone field west of the Shaded Castle. We took his clothes, his mask, and his rapier. Because we aren't picky. We don't know where he's been, and we don't really care. We learned that the Marias family are executioners and castellans for the Shaded Castle. So it makes me wonder if they were an executioner family longer, and then they were just given. Here we have a painting. Here it looks like the central Altus Plateau facing Mount Gelmir about. But where from? Not sure. But we'll find it in time. That thing's going to have an item description. We'll read it in just a moment. But we learned that Marias is from a two-part family in terms of the responsibilities, Castellans and Executioners both. He had a very low aggression for an enemy. He didn't invade us. We found him out in the world. And he's human-shaped. In that he's tarnish-shaped, I should say. Not generally human-shaped, but tarnish-shaped like us. Deal with these undead, or these corpses. Golden Rune 6. Depraved Perfumer trousers. Okay. I don't think we learned anything from those trousers anyways. But, Marias. Yeah, Keeper of the Castle. Didn't do a very good job. He was very far away from the castle. Well, not very far away. He was within line of sight of the castle, but he just wasn't doing a very good job. We put him down handily. But it seems that he has some sort of infatuation with, let's see. Ant Spur Rapier. Spur of a giant ant, which has been fashioned to a rapier. The blade drips with a scarlet rot. Scarlet rot is an old legend of which Male Marias of the Shaded Castle was a private believer. And indeed, he eventually found his own personal goddess. And I think we got a little more of that from the mantle, or the robe. The sons of House Marias were all sickly born. Little wonder that Male Marias would be so beguiled by the beautiful and fierce goddess who was born into rot. And then, sure enough, the mask. The Marias family has a dual history spanning generations, serving as both executioners and castellans of the Shaded Castle. This mask bears the likeness of the first of their line. So lots going on there. It seems he had his own little private religion revolving around rot. It makes you wonder if the Shaded Castle was always sinking into rot, or if this was something he caused in his devotion to Melania and her scarlet rot. We have a painting to look at before I forget. It's going to be all the way at the end, isn't it? There it is. Work of a wandering artist, reminiscence of a painting titled Champion Song. This painting is said to have been captured the landscape seen during the last moments of those welcomed into death's embrace. The soul of the painter and vestiges of the dead's last moments can be discovered by visiting the location depicted even now. And sure enough, we do see in the painting, there's a building right there, just kind of off-center from the middle, bottom left-hand corner-ish quadrant. And it looks like a big old statue like we walked out of when we were all the way at the start of the game. It was the building we walked out of called the French Folk Heroes Grave. It was this structure here. So it seems to be a big old body like that. So we should probably go look around Central Altus at some point, and don't worry, we will. I missed. For such a place. But first, we are going to deal with all the revenants that are here. Why are they here? Who knows? Maybe they're not scared of poison like they ought to be. Ooh, triple kill. I need to practice with curved swords. Curved great swords, rather. I'm bad with them, and I'm bad against them in PvP. They always seem to have a little extra phantom range that I don't account for, and they get priority, it feels like, at a hit stun. Because they hit fast enough, and they hit hard enough, so they're that great middle ground. They're supposedly a wonderful choice, and I believe the high-end players who sing their praises, I just don't have a lot of experience with them. I mean, can you imagine the insanity of that? A curved sword? What is wrong with some people? Okay, so we have a ladder here. We have this central ring that we've been going around. We already alluded a little bit over here, so we don't have to work our way up necessarily. But I do believe we have another depraved perfumer over here. And he fell off. There we go. Dealt with. Still interesting that depraved perfumers are here. Makes me wonder what their purpose is. Did Male Marias bring him here? I'm just gonna call him the Castellan or Marias. That just rolls off the tongue. Male is weird. It's like Marley, but wrong. My mouth doesn't like making the sound. So I'm just gonna refer to him as Marias for now. Even though I know he's not the first Marias or what have you. So, Mr. Marias may have invited the perfumers here to concoct poisons. I don't really have a foundation for this necessarily, other than he seems to worship the goddess of rot. Right? Nope, I shouldn't have rolled in that. That was a mistake. Is it not building up more? I guess I rolled in the very edge. Fine by me. And so, as a part of my own headcanon, speculation here, just so you know, it seems that he hired perfumers, maybe even brought in some basilisks, to create this swill of a castle, for lack of a better term. And I assume it was so he could cultivate an environment in which to worship her in, his devotion. This is a sign of his belief or adoration. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily true, or if the Shaded Castle was always like this. No proof have I. It knocked him over. That's a nice thing about this sidearm. Get your health back. Even on little things. Okay. Trying to think of what else we could extrapolate. We did learn from one of the items that Male Marias, and you stop trying to say his first name, was born sickly. And it seems that all of the sons of House Marias are born sickly, in fact. So nothing too strange there. It's a little curious, though, because if they're all born sickly, is that because of the swamp that their castle is submerged in? Just horrible living conditions? If we were to send Mr. Marias on vacation, you know, before we killed him, would he get better? Or is it a chronic, permanent sort of condition? So it seems that the depraved perfumers can heal themselves, but they don't hold up a flask. They hold their little bottles instead. So they're not healing themselves with crimson tears, which leads me to suspect that they are healing themselves with a perfume. I wish we could, in half. I half wish we could heal ourselves with a perfume. I think in lore that would be neat to gather the ingredients for extra health. I understand why it's not in the game for balance reasons, because any extra way of healing in the form of a consumable kind of hurts the game balance, aside from the flask system, as far as I've seen. The full heals from Dark Souls 3 were a colossal pain. Every person would have 10 Sieg Brows to heal themselves as well, which wasn't phenomenal. This game has the meat dumplings, which you only hold 3 at a time, which is good. It's a start. So it just always messes with the game balance. I do like how the most recent one, you don't hold very many of them. and they poison you. I think that's good for having something. But they always put in something. Even the Starlight Shards, like, I like them from a lore standpoint. I enjoy that they exist, but it's frustrating in a PvP sense when you're dealing with a group of 3 players and you have them on the ropes much of the time, but they're holed up somewhere and they just keep popping Starlight Shards and healing each other and spamming projectiles. It just bogs down the fight. Now, they have every right to do that. I'm not saying they shouldn't be allowed to do that. I just wish it didn't happen because, I don't know, I'm a fan of dynamic fights that change constantly. That's neat to me. I don't like wimpy holdout tactics. But doggone it, does it work. Oh no! This homeless man vomited upon me. Well, he is no longer an issue for us. Oh, he's still alive? Intriguing. Oh, there's more of these fellows. We have our Ghost Rider fellow down there. He's very spectral on his steed. Get behind this big boy. 1900 damage, that's not bad. That's kind of crazy. These guys don't have much in the way of resistances, I imagine. Is there anything to loot here? I don't think so. But yeah, here we have an inner castle wall, it looks like. And this weird support scaffolding here as if they were building something. Entirely unnecessary, but I enjoy it. Should probably go a little faster in this zone. Alright, let's get to the meat. Let's speed things up. Get to the important bits already. Interesting construction, though. We have these tiled roofs. Reminds me a little bit of Celia, actually. Celia had tiles on their rooftops. I'm trying to think of if there's anywhere else that has tiles on the rooftops as well, but nothing's really coming to mind. Oh, got grabbed because I was careless. Okay. Yeah, I think we can kind of skip a lot of these guys, so we'll do exactly that. Here we have a Clean Rot Knight, which is interesting. So we see a sign of his adoration manifest, in a sense, in the form of this Clean Rot Knight wielding a knife and a rapier. They are now dead. More creepy statues. So here's the first place we see statues hold up here, apart from the outside where they were cast about. What would be the purpose of all this? We also find the Valkyrie's prosthesis. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. Here it is. Golden prosthesis once used by the one-armed Valkyrie. A masterwork of craftsmanship. With practice and skill, it can be used as proficiently as a real arm. When Male Marias, Lord of the Shade Castle, embraced this prosthesis, he claimed to feel the presence of his personal goddess. So is this the arm that she wore on the battlefield that got slapped off by Radon? Seems likely. It seems to be that's what it's implying. But in that case, why would we want it? What purpose would we have for it? Well, we do know of a one-armed individual who is not the goddess of rot, but undeniably has some sort of tie to her. Though how that tie works, not entirely certain, or what it means either. Creepy statues. Alright, we have one more little place to loot before we go deeper into the castle. Because we are still working on this outer wall. Now, I think there's only dragon wound grease or something else equally worthless over here, but we're going to take a look regardless. Now, shucks. That one little projectile ruined everything. And continues to ruin everything. Golly. all. You know, they want to play that way? We'll play that way. There we go. And where's that rider guy? It's rot grease. Not dragon wound grease. I probably associated dragon wound grease with that spawn simply because they are similar colors. We knock him off his mount for being a pain. Okay. We can go up here. There's not a whole lot over here, but we do see a ladder we can kick down at a later point. There's this shed that we can loot. Oh, there's an item over there. I should probably investigate that. Smithing stone 4. Free backstabs. Oh, it's deep sludge here. Guess we didn't need to do that necessarily. Well, that worked well. I thought I had the other weapon out. I need to hurry things up, otherwise this episode's just going to be this castle. To be fair, it is a tiny legacy dungeon of a sort. It may not count in a technical sense, but it feels like one, because it's separated from the outside world. You can't use a mountain here. Though I haven't paid enough attention to see if we get our flasks back if we kill enough things. I don't think we do. So perhaps this is a small legacy dungeon of sorts. What weapon to use? Kind of feeling like using the Troll's Night Sword, though. Which is probably a mistake, but oh well. It's going to be a mistake we make well. Aha. Breaking his posture. Breaking his spine. Altus blooms. So yeah, depraved perfumers drop a lot of supplies on kill compared to their regular perfumer counterparts. I don't know how it hurt the other guy, but it did. We find smithing stone, Miranda powder, depraved perfumer glove, budding cave moss, and more Miranda powder. Lots of crafting supplies for our mix-ins here. Or not mix-ins, our, goodness, perfumes. Kick down a ladder over here, which gives us a nice shortcut from that grace we found. And these rocks over here, these falling rocks tell a story. Not particularly, but if you jump across them, like so, well, better than I did, but it's a little forgiving. You can get up here between the rocks, and oh, it must be around the next part. Here it is. You can get yourself a stone sword key, and I grabbed it barely on the way down. Almost missed it. I might have moved on without it, honestly. I've seen people fall off of that thing 3 times trying to get it. I don't get it, but it happens. Alright, now we are good to move on to the central part of the castle. And I'm just going to teleport to it to save us a moment. Alright, so we have more of these statues, creepy. They seem devoted to Queen Marika. I assume. I have no other female figures to apply or ascribe ownership or likeness of. I wonder if it'll work. So this statue here had a little bit of... Oh, there's a dog. Dealt with. Okay. So we have a ghost over here. Let's chat with him first. House Marias is ruined. Just desserts for falling for that severed harpy. Oh. No surprise that guilty Cretan took the castle and our storied sword. So somebody took a storied sword. Could it be the Ansper Rapier? No surprise that guilty Cretan took the castle and our storied sword. So took the castle. Maybe Marias was kicked out of the castle. Male Marias, that is. Okay, does it happen over here? If I put my weapon away? Yeah. So, pay attention to that statue there, right? It looks normal, and then I get away from it. And it seems to change a little bit as we approach. It almost looks like it turns its head, right? Now, I don't know how clear this is coming through on a 1080p resolution, right? But it seems to turn its head or something changes. Now, it seems a little spooky, a little bit like Weeping Angels from the Doctor Who series, but in all honesty, it's the game saving on assets. It's just rendering the model at a lower, with a lower amount of polygons, and then when we get closer, it renders it a little bit higher to show the detail, and it seems to have stages. But it shows it off in such a way that it almost appears like it's turning its head like a creepy statue. Not intentional, just a funny little thing. Oh no. Good thing the dog took so long getting up. Oh no, he aim punched me from hitting the other noble. But we have nobles here in a horrible state. I thought he'd give it a shot. I never really block, and it seems if you're going to block with a weapon, big weapons, colossal weapons are a good idea because they have a little more guard boost. Still not a lot, though. They're kind of like medium-grade shields, which aren't great. But here we find the Perfumer's Cookbook 2. Didn't mean to do that. Let's take a look at that and see what it has to say. So it lets us make poison spray mist and blood boil aromatic, and I should probably start showing these off. I will at some point. I guess I could show them off in the next area. Or in the next part. I'll be able to show them off soon. Don't worry. Okay, so we're gonna grab the lance, and I think... Can we get the shield too? We still light roll. Okay. So I want to try something. So the Earth Shield we know can reflect projectiles. It's a little slow on the uptake. But as you can see, even holy projectiles... Come on, do it again. It'll be fun. So it seems that she does them a little too fast. But it still blocks the next hit, which is fair enough, I suppose. But yeah, fires a projectile back, does good damage. There was a glitch for a good while at the start of the game, where if you used an incantation called, it's like Flaming Sin or something to that effect. It's a self-immolation spell that does little ticks of damage to your enemy. That if you had that going, and then you tried to spell parry with this shield, it would just shoot, even though you weren't really reflecting anything but your own self-damage. But it would do the full damaging hit, and people would almost full auto the thing just about, and that was terrifying times. At least I think that's how the glitch worked. Oh boy. Oh boy. We're in trouble. Oh, near. Oh, not the best setup for 2 dogs and a clean run. That's on me. Let's go get the money back. My 712k I can't stand to lose. Stake America, how close is that? Is that going to be, like, just up the elevator? It is. It is just up the elevator. That's funny. Oh, God. Okay. It killed 2 of them. I'll count that. That's revenge. Okay. So Now we are going to switch up our kit a little bit. What to switch it up to? I kind of want to demonstrate. We'll use the big sword. Why not? Yeah, we'll use the big sword. We'll bring our convenient parry shield. Whichever one we like. I like this one today. Nope, too heavy. Alright, figured as much. We'll bring the lightest one. Okay. So we're bringing those. And I was going to show off one of these aromatics. So the blood boil and the poison spray mist, I believe, is what we just found. So the poison spray mist, perfumed powder, is held in the mouth to dissolve before being expelled. It was once a restorative art, or so it is said. This one releases a poison mist from the user's mouth, causing a buildup of poison, which is kind of neat because I believe it's a very deadly poison. Of the 4 varieties in the game: standard poison, deadly poison, rot, and then this thing's poison. And then blood boil aromatic. Uses FP to enter a temporary state of fervor, raising maximum attack power and stamina while also increasing damage received. So it's going to be a little risky, but I think we're going to use it. So we'll make we'll make 2 of those and 1 of these. Yeah, it seems like a good idea. A good enough idea, I should say. Who were we going to use after the sorcerer? We could bring 2 Godric soldiers, the regular guys. Why not? That'll be funny. A measly form of backup, if ever I saw some. Okay. And we want our aromatics that we are going to waste our time with. I don't know why I looked up from the bottom. That was a horrible idea. Okay. So our physic boosts magic attack and strength. You know what? I don't think I can one-hand it, can I? I cannot. Nah. So we'll stick with this. Okay. So first things first. Bottom up. Blood boil aromatic. Enter the fight. Spawn the Godric soldiers. Ooh. But we do want to poison him. And get his attention. Oh, he's doing the explosion. He is poisoned, and we are doing sizable damage to him. Yeah, like that chunk there. I probably should have taken a look at the... Oh. That Godric soldier is a champion. So our AR... I'll show it better after the fight. I should have just showed the AR instead of just going for it. Come on, buddy. Just hit us with your sword. There we go. 2 and our big sword. Make it a good ending for him. So here is Elmer of the Briar. He looks like a bell-bearing hunter. He might be a bell-bearing hunter. But here's the Marius Executioner sword. There's our storied sword. And the Briar Great Shield. So let's take a look at the Marius Executioner Great Sword. So it looks like it takes 23 arcane to wield. It is a strength weapon fundamentally that scales okay with arcane. Not very well with dex, but it's there. It has Eocade's Dancing Blade, like the Eocade Straight Sword that we found all the way back in Caelid. Storied Sword of House Marius, the family of executioners who presided over the Shaded Castle. One of the legendary armaments. So this also goes with the Ruins Great Sword, as well as the Grafted Great Sword. I don't think we found any other legendary armaments. Elmer of the Briar, the bell-bearing hunter, snatched the sword from the site of his looming execution and furnished it with battle skills from his home of Eocide. Eocade? Ochide. I don't know. Briar Great Shield. Great Shield from a foreign land used by Elmer of the Briar. Attacks with this armament utilize the iron thorns that have been wound around its frame. Originates from Eocide, a land of proudly solitary ascetics. We also learned that people from that storied land... I never noticed that his body lingers when you kill him here. Bell-bearing hunters, they just kind of fade. Guess we could take a look at him. He's got a spooky mask. It's tilted a little bit. He's got briars. Apparently they're made of iron, so he's just wrapped in barbed wire, which I'd make me angry too, honestly. So let's take a sit down and see if his body disappears. It does. Okay. Don't worry, we're going to go a little long here, but hey, the place is in nice working order. So interesting to note, we have more statues. It honestly looks like a little great hall, but it's kind of in a remote part of the castle up above, right? Yeah, the Castellan's Hall is where we are. We see clean wrought knight armor. A nice fireplace, more statues, and prosthetic arms. And don't you know, a huge portrait to Melania. Now, I think this is our first time seeing her in-game, apart from the cinematic intro. But actually playing the game, this is our first depiction of her. Sure enough, there's the prosthetic arm, clearly in sight. Her Valkyrie helm, red hair, and prosthetic feet on one side, and prosthetic arms on the other side. Seems that they had a table set, so it seems he was driven from the hall. Where the execution was going on, I couldn't tell you. I don't see a noticeable rack anywhere for the treasured sword, so perhaps it was not stored up here, and this is just where we found Elamar of the Briar. But when we found him, he was standing here facing the portrait. So it makes you wonder why he would be staring up at her in the first place. Okay, we're going to go just a smidge long today to finish the story beats. Should I have gone faster? Yes, but it's too late now, so we're just going to stick with it. So we're going to talk to this lady. And the reason being is receive equipment of champions. And sure enough, we can buy the Briar set. So battered iron helm from a foreign land worn by Elamar of the Briar. The winding rusted iron briars are a mark of the guilty and typically indicates a sentence of death. They also cause this armor to deal damage when performing dodge rolls. So anyone familiar with the Thorn armor from Dark Souls 1 and 3, I don't remember if it was in the second one. Yeah, you could roll at people to do a little bit of damage. Each piece of the set that you're wearing adds the damage. I think in Dark Souls 3 it was like, for the full 4-piece set, it was 2 damage per piece, so 8 damage on a roll. Not a lot, but it was useful if somebody didn't have a lot of health and you needed to finish them off. Like, they really had 1 or 2 HP. So a lot of people would wear Thorned Gauntlets or something unobtrusive to their fashion, and they would roll at the enemy to finish them off, which isn't a horrible idea. Less popular now that the game's a little faster and people roll and move farther and faster and jumps and whatnot. I still like the chess piece, honestly. I think it's pretty good fashion. 21 points, not the worst. We will grab this set. Because I don't think... let's see. Elamar murdered numerous instructors and merchants and was known as the Bell-Bearing Hunter. So it was him. Which is interesting, because I think we have one more location where we can find a Bell-Bearing Hunter. We fought 3 so far. And so this was our 4th interaction with him, and I think there's a 5th. Yeah, that sounds right. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5. Okay. Yep. And I think they all say the same thing. Okay. So we're not missing anything there. So, Elamar of the Briar has been dealt with. Marius is also dead, so he didn't even get to retake his castle from which he was booted. It's a little story arc going on there, but let's go talk to that little one-armed lady we are aware of and see what she has to say to us, especially since we found that prosthesis. I can put the oversized sword away. It's a bit silly. There we go. Broadsword on hip, peak fashion. So let's give her a chat. So let's see what she says.
Now, I'm tracing the path Melania took. She's passed into the lands that lie beyond the Erd Tree.
We can give her the Valkyrie's prosthesis, and given that we have 2 functioning arms, we might as well give her a hand.
Are you giving me this arm? Thank you. I am in your debt yet again, I think. If the arm serves well enough, it might be possible for me to wield a sword again. If the arm serves well enough, it might be possible for me to wield a sword again. Perhaps then I can aid you in battle.
Which is interesting, because I believe she wielded her sword left-handed when she helped us against Makar, the magma worm. I don't remember if she does anything other than the basic light attack like you might be restricted to if you were wielding a curved sword in just your left hand. Just the neutral light attack. I don't recall. I should have paid attention to that. That would be good to know. Maybe I'll take a look on a different character at a future point.
If the arm serves, it might be possible for me to wield a sword again. Perhaps then.
Okay, so she has nothing more to say at this point, but we have given her the arm, sure enough. Okay, so that's going to be the end of episode 80. Wow, episode 80, that's crazy. Next time, we're going to start at the Bridge of Iniquity, and we're going to work our way across, eastward along the road, and explore kind of in a spiraling shape. Maybe more like a loop-de-loop shape, honestly. The rest of the Central Altus Plateau, which will be neat, and then we can move on to our next zone. So thank you for joining me. I hope you have a good one, and bye-bye.